If you have ever wondered why you couldn't find an email in your inbox, only to discover it in spam later, that's machine learning at work. Every time Gmail moves something to your spam folder, it's making a prediction. Also, every time Spotify groups you into a listener type without you telling it anything, that's also machine learning. But these two things work completely differently. One of them gets started, the other figure it out on its own.
So today I want to talk about supervised and unsupervised learning. These are two of the most foundational concepts in machine learning. Once you understand the difference, everything else starts to click. If you are watching this channel for the first time, I am Fran. Outside of my day job, I love building things, taking notes, keep learning about data science and AI. And this channel is where I share that journey. It's not the polished one, but it's the real one. Let's start with the simplest possible version. Supervised learning is when you give the model the correct answer while it's training.
Unsupervised learning
Is when you don't, but the model find and learn the patterns on its own. Everything else we are going to talk about is on top of those two sentences.
So, supervised learning, let's make it concrete. Imagine you are training someone at work to sort through emails. You sit with them, you show them 1000 emails, and for every single one, you say spam or not spam. They look at the patterns, they start to recognize what spam look like, then eventually, you step back, and they can do it without you. That's supervised learning. You are giving it labeled data, input pairs with the correct outputs, so it can learn the relationship between the two. There are two types of problems supervised learning solved. Firstly, classification. The output is a category, spam or not spam, fraud or not fraud. This image is a cat or a dog. Secondly, regression. The output is a number. What will the house price be? How long is the commute? What temperature should I expect tomorrow? Example of the real world is Google trained on hundreds of millions of labeled emails. It now filters spam with high accuracy. Your bank flagging your card when something looks wrong. Trained on historical transaction labeled as fraudulent or legitimate. Netflix predicting whether you will actually watch some things. Your past rating are your labels. Someone has to label all that data, and labeling is expensive, slow, and sometimes impossible to scale. That limitation is actually why the other type of learning exists. Unsupervised learning, same training scenario, but this time you don't tell it which emails are spam. You just give it to a pile and say, find things that look similar. Group them. It doesn't know what the groups mean. It just finds the structure. You, as a human, look at the groups afterwards and say, oh, those are spams. The model found the pattern and you interpreted it. Two main things unsupervised learning does. Firstly, clustering, grouping similar things together without being told what the groups are. The most common algorithm here is k-means. You tell it how many groups you want, it figures out who belongs where. Secondly, dimensionality reduction. Your data set has like 500 columns. That's unworkable. PCA or principal component analysis. Compress it down into the most important components while keeping most of the information. You will use this constantly in real work before visualization, before building other models. For example, Spotify doesn't know your taste when you sign up. It watches how you listen, then groups you with people who behave similarly. No labels, that's clustering. E-commerce company doing customer segmentation, who are the high-value customers, who browse what never buys, and the model find those groups without anyone manually sorting people. And the last one is my favorite one, anomaly detection. Like if you are looking for fraud patterns you have never seen before, you can't label what you don't know yet. Unsupervised model flag things that just don't fit. It doesn't know it's fraud, it just knows it's weird. However, unsupervised learning is harder to evaluate. With supervised learning, you know if you're right, you have the answer. With unsupervised, you get clusters and you have to decide if they make sense. That's more judgment call, less than metrics. Here's the full comparison.
So how do you choose? One question, do you know what the output you are looking for? If yes, and you have the label example, then use supervised. But if don't, and label is too expensive, also you're just exploring, then use unsupervised. You may use two approaches, like exploring by unsupervised first, and on top of that, you use supervised if prediction is needed. And that's all for supervised versus unsupervised. Next time, if someone asks you what type of machine learning to use, you will know the first question to ask yourself. If this was useful, subscribe it, and I will see you in the next one.